man.
The growing problem of cyberbullying. 40% of kids say they've been bullied with words through text messages or email. Is it happening among kids you know? Get smart with what to do about it.
Sometimes you find creativity where you least expect it. Inexpensive, creative ideas we found from the hardware store, the office supply store, and even the dollar store.
And who could resist these? Fresh baked and frosted, they're chocolate mint brownie cookies. That's all today on Studio 5.
Right now, we're waking up a new day. So let it shine from all of your dreams to the simplest things. Like a new point of view or a moment with you. A walk in the sun, what you learn and who you love. We're making today a better day.
Good morning and welcome to Studio 5. We start with one word today, stress. It's that emotion that we all feel, especially in some of these financial times that we're having.
Absolutely, but a recent study actually shows women are bearing the brunt of the worry.
Honey, I'm home.
They are the three little words that signify the end of a long workday. And for Jana and Matt Anderson, those words are usually accompanied by a welcome home hug and catch-up conversation. But at the end of a stressful long workday,
on the days that he's stressed, I know, because he kind of just comes in and does his own thing. If I don't get that wink or the eye contact or the hey honey and the big hug, then I know he's a little stressed.
And as a company sales executive, lately Matt's had his fair share of stressful days.
Especially in our economic times right now, sales is difficult because there's a lot of people that are making tough decisions, and I work, I think, a lot harder for less results right now.
The Andersons are not alone. According to the American Psychological Association, 80% of those surveyed find the recent financial crisis to be a significant cause of stress. That number is up from 66% last April. That probably doesn't come as much of a surprise, but what's interesting is women actually reported a greater level of stress, expressing more worry over job stability and health problems than men. Jana's days are filled with work of her own, but usually when Matt gets home, she's ready to be together, connect, even go out. An impulse she's learned to hold back on.
I think he needs a few minutes when he gets home just to kind of relax.
And for a family that thrives on outdoor activities, relieving stress can be difficult during our long Utah winters.
I think that the economy and winter came about the same time, the two stresses, and usually for me, I de-stress by getting outside and doing things and being active.
Both agree time spent together as a family is a great way to help let it down.
We just have to be ready to enjoy our evenings and enjoy our free time so that we can relieve stress as a family and just have fun.
But one thing's for sure, when Dad's stressed, so are the rest. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me women are feeling it too, because they're naturally the caretakers, I think, and they feel the stress of not only their own lives, but their husbands and their families. So as a wife, a mother, and a woman, what can you do to alleviate the stress level of your family, your home, and your husband? It's a little challenge we're calling How to De-Stress Your Man. And here to help us do that, two experts with two different perspectives. Margaret Lister is an OBGYN with Intermountain Healthcare, and Matt Townsend, of course, our Studio 5 relationship coach. We're excited to get both opinions, kind of both sides of the story, even the male-female ideas will kind of be fun to see here. We're going to have some fun with the topic, but it's a real issue right now for some families. Talking to some of my girlfriends, they feel the burden of their husbands when they walk in the door.
I see it in my practice every day.
I hate men. And I hate when they walk in the door and they're unhappy. No, but it's huge. And the stress thing, we got to make sure today we talk that it's going both ways. The studies are showing women are paying maybe an inordinate amount of pain and suffering for all this stress.
Which strikes me as a little bit odd. I mean, as the man, as the head of the household, that area, the breadwinner coming home, I feel that stress, and I don't realize that my wife is feeling that even more so, that she's the caretaker. You guys are going to walk us through some stuff. Matt, let's start with you.
Yeah.
One of your tips you say is to be affectionate, right?
Baby, yes.
Amen. Okay. Say it again, okay, for anybody who might not be listening.
Be affectionate, yo. Part of it is,
Margaret's just laughing.
did you notice? Margaret's like, she's a doctor. She knows. But did you notice?
It's a good thing.
on
Keeps you in business.
It is.
It's a
She's
good
an
thing.
OBGYN. Vote for Margaret. Well, you noticed when they came in, they hugged. And there's a natural endorphin run when we touch and when we hug. And so one of the best ways I found to reduce stress is to do some touching, some hugging. One of the problems is, you know, we talked about this on other shows. Once we start having touch, we think it needs to go somewhere. So maybe some stress-free touch where we know we can hold each other, touch, have a hug when we leave, have a hug when we come. Something that just says, you know what, we're still connected even if we're not necessarily going to deal with our issues right
I think hugging is more important than kissing, too, by the way.
I do too.
It's that physical contact that makes a difference.
Hugging more important than kissing.
Plus, it allows your lips to move so you can talk.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to hold a conversation when you're kissing.
Well, a different kind of physical activity, Margaret, you recommend is exercise.
Absolutely.
To relieve
I think
that stress.
when you are stressed, you need some sort of outlet, some release, and in order to prevent a disease process from starting. So one of the things that you can do is exercise. Now you think, how do we put exercise into your relationship? And taking walks, you know, being active instead of, you know, this family actually is hiking. I think that's a great way. Going skiing, being outside, and even in the wintertime, you can go sledding. I mean, walking up that hill 3 or 4 times will make a difference in your exercise.
So be active together. And Matt, you've said before, you and your wife take walks regularly.
Yeah,
That's
we do.
kind of your outlet.
Really, really long walks. And it helps everything. It really does.
Just getting away from the kids
It really
and not
does.
going back
I
home.
think it's just being away from the kids is the key.
It's like,
We don't even have to walk. We could go sit in the backyard and just be away from the kids.
You know, sometimes there's a problem, especially in the winter, as we just heard there. Winter and economy hitting the bad time. You can't get out. You can't do something.
Date night, regular date night is very important. You know, have a babysitter come and have the babysitter come on Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, you know, times where babysitters are not in such high demand, and have it come every Tuesday. So every Tuesday night is your date night.
And I love hearing this from a medical doctor. I mean, it affects all levels of your life, right? From the emotional health to the physical health.
Absolutely.
Okay, Matt, you have another thing you like to say, sort of along the lines of going for a walk. Just relax. Anything you can do to help yourself relax.
See, a lot of guys, we don't get credit for actually reading very well our partner. But the reality is, if my partner's stressed, I'm stressed. If I sense you're frustrated with the kids, I will be frustrated with the kids. If you want to kill them, I'll do it for you. I feel this compelling need to fix whatever the problem is. So one of the best ways to maybe de-stress your partner is to try to be de-stressed yourself. If you can be relaxed when he gets home, he'll all of a sudden feel that you're relaxed. And it'll help him. Do you remember the quote, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy?
Yeah.
That's very real in the male world. If you're not happy, men kind of internalize it through our egos that it's my fault. And so I got to do something, which just adds more stress.
So just the woman being more relaxed.
More relaxed, more
chill.
positive, smiling.
Okay, that's going to help the guy in turn. All right, Margaret, you say also to offer time away, kind of offer an out to your spouse.
Yeah, stress, the more stress that's chronic, the higher the buildup and the higher the risk of disease. So what you want to do is make time for the husband to get to a non-stressful environment. So and you assume that when he comes home, that's a non-stressful environment, and that may or may not be true.
No.
You know, talking about the kids and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So he may need some time where he just kind of goes and is quiet, you know, and I think the important thing to do is ask your husband. Ask him, what do you need? I see that you're stressed. What can I do that will help you kind of get back into the flow of things? And I think it changes from person to person.
We've already heard Matt answer that question on the show many times.
Oh, yeah. Back to number 1.
Be affectionate.
Be affectionate.
Okay. Hugging is good.
And you also say, I would tend to think that if you just like sort of avoid the stress, it will go away. But that's actually a real problem, isn't it?
And that's one of the kind of the danger signs that I would want people to be aware of is if you're using medications to de-stress, or if you're, you know, a glass of wine here or there doesn't bother me, but if it is, you know, you have to tie one on in order to get over the day, you know, that's a kind of a warning sign that you may need some professional treatment.
Yeah.
And where does the talking come into play? I think this is where a lot of women want to jump in and save and rescue and talk about it and work through it, and the guy says probably not.
And that kind of goes back to our ego issues, our differences. The minute we talk about it, the minute we're talking about a problem, the man feels this compulsion to fix it. Talk is cheap. We've talked a lot about that on the show. It stresses us because we don't know what to do. And generally the women want to talk about it because it's their way to kind of get it out, to bond on it, to feel like we're together on this. As long as we're together, we can solve anything. Men would almost rather not talk about it and go fight it alone.
Well, you know, as soon as Margaret said that, you know, talk about it, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about it. It's one of those things
that's stressful.
for guys.
Part of it's
but it's
that
stressful
ego.
for a woman not to talk
Absolutely.
about it. You know what I mean? There's
well,
that
and then how do we know what you want when you come home if you unless you don't tell us. You have to let us know what's
Email.
going on.
I just email
prefer
wife.
texting.
Oh, do you? I text my wife. My life's horrible. Leave me alone.
This is what I want.
Give me a half hour and a hug. That's what I do. Is that too much?
Do you do TTYL? I'll talk to you later.
I don't do any of that.
No, he does LOL.
Yeah. That's the only one I know is LOL.
Well, leading out of the LOL, Matt, your final tip is to find humor in it.
You gotta laugh. There's natural things that happen to our body when we laugh. We heal better. We heal faster. Research shows laughter and humor can really save a lot of stuff. Think about going through your most impactful financial situation. If you could find some peace, some humor, something out of that you can laugh about, it'll create some relaxation and a whole new dynamic to build on.
We expect that from you because you're like a humor guy. But Margaret's over here nodding the whole time, right?
I do a lot of humor in my practice. I mean, there's nothing more anxiety-provoking than going to your GYN annual visit.
Oh, I
and
hate
so
I hate them. It makes me gaggy. Sorry, Margaret, but I can't do it.
Really.
I can't do it.
Humor helps
Humor helps de-stress and kind of de-anxiety everything.
Yeah.
All right. We'll let Matt make his appointment right now.
Okay. I'll be there tomorrow.
All right. That's your day off.
Thanks so much, you guys. Thanks for stopping by. These tips on our website for you, studio5.ksl.com. How to de-stress your man. Hopefully some helpful, applicable tips you can apply into your home.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next on